calls never stopped. I used to think the overnight shift at a gas station was the easiest money I'd ever make. It sat off an old state highway, about 20 minutes outside a small town in Missouri. After midnight, traffic died down to almost nothing. Every now and then a trucker would stop for coffee, or somebody coming home from a late shift would grab a soda, but most nights it was just me, and the sound of the refrigerators humming. The building was surrounded by darkness. Across the road was an abandoned cornfield. Behind the station was nothing but thick woods. If somebody screamed out there, nobody would have heard it. It was around 11:40 p.m. on a Friday when the phone rang for the first time. "Thanks for calling Ridgeway Fuel. How can I help you?" Nothing. Just breathing. Slow, steady. Like whoever was on the other end was standing perfectly still. After nearly 10 seconds, a man finally spoke. "You look bored." I frowned. "Excuse me?" A quiet chuckle. I said, "You look bored." The line went dead. I stared at the receiver for a second before laughing to myself. Probably kids. People loved messing with the night clerk. I shrugged it off. Until my cell phone buzzed. It was a text from my buddy Tyler. "Everything good?" I replied. "Yeah, some idiot prank called the store." He answered almost instantly. "Dude, don't answer weird calls this late." I rolled my eyes. Tyler watched too many horror movies. About 15 minutes later, the phone rang again. Same number, same breathing. This time, the voice sounded closer. "You shouldn't stand with your back to the windows." My blood ran cold. I slowly turned around. Behind me, the parking lot was empty. No cars, no people. Just 4 gas pumps glowing under white lights. I swallowed hard. "Who is this?" Another laugh. "You looked." Click. I told myself somebody had to be watching through the windows from the road. It wasn't impossible. Still, something didn't feel right anymore. For the next half hour, I kept glancing outside. Nothing. Not one customer. Not one passing car. Then, the automatic doors slid open. A man walked inside. Mid-30s, gray hoodie, black baseball cap pulled low, hands shoved into his pockets. He didn't grab a basket, didn't look at the shelves. He just slowly walked every aisle, looking, waiting, watching. Eventually, he brought a bottle of water to the counter. I scanned it. $2.19. He handed me cash. Didn't blink, didn't smile. Then he asked, "You working alone tonight?" I forced a laugh. "Maybe." He tilted his head. Smart answer. Then he walked out. But instead of leaving, he stood beside pump 3, just standing there, looking toward the store. 5 minutes later, the phone rang again. I didn't even want to answer, but I did. The same voice, only now it sounded amused. "He lies." I froze. "What?" "The man outside. He isn't waiting for gas." My eyes shot toward pump 3. The man was still standing there, perfectly still. Then, very slowly, he smiled. My stomach dropped. I hung up immediately. I grabbed the remote for the security cameras. One screen showed the parking lot. Another showed the back dumpster. The third, the side entrance. Nothing. Until movement. Someone stepped out of the woods behind the station. Another man, dark clothes, hood up. He wasn't coming toward the front. He disappeared behind the building. My heart started pounding. Before I could think, the phone rang again. "Lock the back door." I didn't hesitate. I sprinted into the storage room. The back door was unlocked. As I reached it, the handle moved. Once, twice. Then somebody pushed hard from the outside. I slammed the deadbolt into place. 3 loud bangs shook the metal door. Boom, boom, boom. Then, silence. I backed away so fast I nearly fell over. Whoever called had just saved me. Or knew exactly what was happening. Neither answer made me feel any better. I dialed 911. While whispering my location, I heard footsteps. Not behind me, in front. The man from pump 3 had walked back inside. He stood just beyond the entrance, looking directly at me. No water bottle, no shopping, just staring. Then, he slowly raised one finger and pointed toward the ceiling. Confused, I looked up. Nothing. When I looked back down, he was smiling. A huge, unnatural smile. I didn't move. Blue and red lights suddenly flashed through the front windows. Police. The man's smile vanished instantly. He bolted toward the side exit. At that exact moment, the back door burst open. The second man sprinted into the woods before officers reached him. The first suspect disappeared into the darkness between two abandoned buildings across the highway. Neither of them was caught. Police searched the area for hours. They found fresh footprints, 2 sets, a backpack hidden in the woods, zip ties, a roll of duct tape, 2 burner phones. But no fingerprints, no names, nothing. The detectives believed the men had been watching late-night businesses for weeks, waiting until someone was completely alone. I quit the very next morning. Sometimes, I still think about the calls. The police traced every number. None of them existed. No records, no active accounts, nothing. To this day, I still don't know who was calling me, or why they warned me. But every now and then, when my phone rings from an unknown number late at night, I let it ring. Because somewhere, out there, someone already knows whether I'll answer.
Room 317 never existed. If you've never worked the night shift at a hotel, count yourself lucky. People think it's quiet, easy money. Just check in the occasional traveler and watch Netflix until sunrise. That's exactly what I believed, until one night changed everything. I was the only employee on duty at a small roadside hotel outside Tulsa. 32 rooms, 2 floors, one long hallway upstairs that always seemed darker than it should have been. By midnight, every guest had already checked in. The lobby was silent except for the ticking clock and the soda cooler humming behind me. Then, the front door opened. No chime, no footsteps, just the door slowly swinging shut. A man stood there, late 40s, clean shave, dark blue jacket, small black suitcase. He smiled politely. "Evening." His voice was calm, too calm. "I've got a reservation." "Name?" He told me. I typed it into the computer. Nothing. "No worries," he said with a little laugh. "It might be under my company." I searched again. Nothing. He never got frustrated, never acted surprised, almost like he already knew I wouldn't find it. Finally, he said, "You know what? I probably booked the wrong hotel. No big deal." He smiled, turned around, and walked back outside. At least, that's what I thought. About 20 minutes later, I noticed movement on camera 4, the upstairs hallway. Someone was walking past room 312, slowly, hands behind his back. I zoomed in. It was him, the man who had supposedly left. I shot out of my chair. How the hell did he get upstairs? The elevator required a guest key. So did every hallway door after 11 p.m. I checked the front entrance camera. Nobody had come back inside. I grabbed the master key and walked upstairs. The hallway was empty. Every room was quiet. No voices, no TVs, nothing. I even checked the stairwell. Empty. As I turned to head back downstairs, I heard it. A soft knock. 3 slow taps. Tock, tock, tock. It came from the very end of the hallway, room 317. I frowned. There was only one problem. Our hotel only had 16 rooms upstairs. The hallway ended at room 316. There was no room 317. I looked toward the end of the hallway. Nothing. just the emergency exit. My heart started racing. I hurried downstairs and replayed the camera footage. The timestamp clearly showed the man stopping, turning, and knocking on a door that didn't exist. Trying to calm myself down, I blamed the old security system. Maybe the camera angle made it look weird. Maybe I was just tired. Then, the desk phone rang. I answered. "Front desk." A woman whispered, "Someone keeps trying my door." I checked her room number, 312. The same room the man had walked past. "I'll be right there." When I reached the second floor, the guest was standing in the hallway, terrified. She pointed toward the far end. I saw somebody. He just stood there watching my room. I looked. Nobody. I escorted her downstairs and moved her to another room. Before she left, she asked something that made my stomach drop. "Who's staying in room 317? I felt every hair on my arm stand up. "What makes you ask that?" She frowned. "I watched a man knock on that door. He looked right at me. Then he smiled." She had seen it too. I immediately called my manager. He arrived 20 minutes later. Together we searched the entire hotel. Every room, every storage closet, every stairwell. Nothing. No sign of the man. The next morning, we reviewed every security camera. At exactly 1:42 a.m., the man entered the lobby, walked straight through the locked hallway door without opening it, as if it wasn't even there. The camera glitched for less than 1 second. When the picture returned, he was upstairs, walking toward the end of the hallway. Then came the strangest part. At 1:46, he walked back toward the camera, stopped, looked directly into the lens, smiled, and simply vanished. Not faded, not hidden, vanished between 2 frames. The police checked every inch of the building. No fingerprints, no forced entry, nothing missing. They assumed the footage was corrupted. The manager replaced every security camera the following week. 3 months later, I quit. Not because of that night, because of what happened after. Every few weeks, a guest would call the front desk after midnight, always asking the same question. "Can you tell the man outside room 317 to stop knocking?" There has never been a room 317.
But if you drive past that old hotel today, don't ask for a room on the 2nd floor. And whatever you do, if you hear 3 slow knocks, don't answer.